And it is time on Triple M Football for this.
In 2009, the Saturday Rub brought you the iconic
World according to the Cool Breeze.
And now, it brings you
Cool Breeze Chronicles.
Oh! Purple's injected himself
I didn't even know.
his own
That was-
intro.
That wasn't a fresh record, Jim. That was
come
last
on.
week's conversation.
I
That's
cannot
the first
believe
I've
what
heard
I'm
of that.
hearing.
Your plums have dropped.
He's come into the studio
No, I
to
haven't,
record his own intro.
Sounds all right, doesn't it?
He has gone Peter Hitchener
Oh, no. And he's made sure that the other bloke in the intro had a higher pitched voice than him so he could come in with a bit more authority. The
That
Chronicles...
was out of our conversation last week.
So
Jim.
what's it called, the official name of it?
Well, it's as we know now, Cool
So-
Breeze Chronicles.
No,
and
say it deeper like the...
Cool Breeze Chronicles.
Oh, can you believe
Now-
that?
Now,
For those who are catching up on this,
Yes.
the initial Cool Breeze was Brian's book where he cracked the shits and left
Oh.
Collingwood
Left
after
Collingwood in a
he got
premiership,
left
yeah.
out of the premiership. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
Railway sleeper
this
on his
is
shoulder.
this is on the back, Jim. As you know now, you've seen this wad of documents that were left at the Triple M front
Just
desk about
incredible
3
how
weeks
that
ago.
happened.
I've been in charge.
Who gave
with-
it to you?
Well, I don't know.
Don't know. They were just
And
left at
whoever it
reception.
is, once we finish this series, a big thank you, and we'll get some something to you. But there's just reams and reams and reams of references to Brian's career as initially a Richmond player, then a Collingwood player, and then a media person. And there's a couple of incidents at Paran Footy Club, which we addressed last week. But, so there's going to be no rhyme or reason how we do this, Jim. There's that much material. We're just
Right.
going to do this ad hoc and
Good.
be quite roundabout. I pick up today's dossier and I just open to the page one and I see a little reference from our good friend Haircut, Daryl Tibbs,
Oh, the
who
haircut.
used to have a column called Roving the Packs. And I find this reference here.
Come on, Timsy.
Just who is the boss in the Taylor household? We organised to take a photo this week of Brian Taylor's newborn boy and asked the Paran coach what name he'd given the baby. He told us Jackson. BT's wife Tanya appeared amazed when our photographer went to the hospital and on seeing the baby said, "So this is Jackson? Is it?" Mrs. BT asked. Just before we went to press with the story
Oh, no.
and the picture on Jackson, BT phoned up to say the baby's name had been changed to Jordan.
You've got a lot of ball, bro.
Come on, Bristle.
Nonsense.
That is true. There's
You gave Haircut the wrong name for your son.
It's a pretty simple thing. You're excited,
So-
I know that, but get
Oh,
the name
come on,
right.
and just for the record, who is that baby?
Jordan.
It's Jordan.
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 It wasn't
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah, his name's
I
Jordan.
think we have a Jackson in a middle name somewhere. I think we do.
Brian.
Jim, there's photos of BT with of all sorts of celebrity. Jimmy Smits, who was as big an actor in the world at the time for NYPD.
NYPD Blue.
Shirley Bassey. There's a big do-up of Brian and Shirley Bassey. There's
Goldfinger.
yes, James Bond. There's an article, just again a random article. Brian had kicked 6 goals in a quarter of a game out there at Waverley, and
In a quarter.
a supporter. It was in a quarter. I read the article.
Wow.
Cross-referenced
Who was
it.
it against?
St Kilda.
Oh,
it
Spud.
wasn't.
Richmond
Oh, right.
and a supporter at the end of the game, Jim, tried to give BT $100 gift voucher in acknowledgement for it. Didn't want it though, BT.
Oh, no. Never accepted that sort of
Everyone, this is the quote in the article, everyone looks at the person who kicks the goals, but too often other players have forgotten in how those goals are kicked. Brian, you don't mean that.
Oh, no.
There's some great analysis about BT's
Yes.
time at Richmond, Spud, where he and Michael Roach, they were the biggest 2 players
Big
going
disco.
around. And
Huge.
they even posed for a mock sort of Rocky-style
Yeah,
shot there one
that's
day,
it.
Jim, and BT's saying nice things about Michael, and
That's
Michael's
it.
saying nice things about
Big
BT.
great man, Disco.
Yeah.
We go to the Sunday Press, a great newspaper in Melbourne at the time, but now defunct. Get to know your player. There's a section there in 1984. Brian Taylor's biog. Girlfriend, nothing steady.
Oh,
Toughest opponent, I keep that a secret. Favourite athlete, John McEnroe. Car, Ford Fairmont. TV show, A-Team.
18. Oh, come on, Brian. The 18.
Oh, the old action.
Oh, no.
Favourite group, Fleetwood Mac. Singer, Michael Jackson. Actor, Sylvester Stallone. And my favourite music is the theme from Rocky. This is the best answer, though, Jim. Favourite, my personal description. Give us your personal description of yourself. I'm just a stay-at-home and a quiet type of guy.
no, Brian. Come on, Bristol.
Come on, Brian.
There's that biog actually has been posted on that Triple M Footy as we speak. I found an official umpires report, Jim, from a game in.
Before we move on to that, I
Yeah.
cannot believe
Yeah.
that anyone who attended the Richmond Disco
Yeah.
in
Or
the early
Collingwood.
part of the 80s
The underground.
is buying into you being a quiet guy staying at
I
home,
don't
Brian.
know whether I've told this story before, but Richmond at one stage thought I was getting a little ahead of myself.
Oh,
And so there used to be this place called Nicobella's, which was a
Yes.
6:30 opener on a Sunday
Caulfield.
night. You'd
Yes.
go there, fill
Beautiful.
yourself up for 4 hours
Yeah.
and go home. And anyway, I wasn't aware, but Graham Richmond, the power broker
know.
of
Oh,
Richmond,
yes.
behind the scenes, owned the place.
He did.
And he said to the bouncer on this particular Sunday night, when I was getting ahead of myself a little, he said, on the way out when we close tonight at 8:30, make sure you give that Brian Taylor a bit of a whacking. He said, why? He said he's getting ahead of himself.
Oh, is that right?
This was Graham Richmond. So that's what they used to do. So I walked out of the door. Who's there? Sam's mate, Mick Hamill.
yeah, Mickey
And
Hamill.
he just goes, bang!
Bang.
And I go, what's that for, Mick? He said, you're just getting a little ahead of yourself. I found out 2 weeks later it was Graham Richmond.
Yeah, think of
Just slow down, Brian.
There's an official
Yes.
umpires report, Jim,
Yes.
from umpire Kevin Smith. It relates to April 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Reason for the report, and it's a very simple explanation by Kevin Smith, for disputing my decision.
Oh, no.
That one played out. And we'll finish today's
Yes.
opening
Chronicles.
offering of the Chronicles of BT. It's an article in the Sun. Now, I can't work out what day it is, but obviously early 80s. And it's written by a woman by the name of Nancy Baldwin, who has the byline of being the Sun cooking expert. And the article
no.
runs this way.
Oh, no.
It's no surprise to find that Brian Taylor knows his way around the kitchen. The tall,
What a load of crap.
Come on.
good-looking
Oh.
Richmond full forward
Hello.
is a bachelor. So the cooking scene is a familiar one to him. As part of his pre-season training, Brian is trying to lose a few kilos. So at the moment, the food he prepares is fairly simple. This recipe is perhaps not one for the weight-conscious, but the combination of seafoods and a sour cream sauce is full of flavour. You then go on, Bree in this article to give your recipe for seafood stroganoff.
Seafood stroganoff.
And
What
Jimmy,
a
Look
load
at
of-
Bristol.
And he
Look at
starts
the
by
body
saying,
language. He's now fully turned away from us.
he starts by saying, take 500 grams of scallops, 500 grams of green prawns, 2
Well,
snapper
for
fillets.
yourself. For one person.
And that recipe is
Take a
now
month
also
to eat it.
posted on the @Triple M Footy.
That recipe
Twitter handle.
has haunted me for the rest of my life because my wife wasn't around then, but she did read it. And so whenever I say, what's for dinner, she says, cook your own stroganoff.
And there's a photo to accompany it in the kitchen.
Bounce into 84. Training to be a top cook is all part of the game.
Oh, I tell you what.
Brian's a bachelor.
Thank you, Brian.
I remember when we used to have the odd, the odd friend around.
Yes.
And and she'd say, well, a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And I'd go to the wrong cupboard, I didn't actually know where the coffee cups were.
Oh, no.
Didn't know where the sugar
I
was.
tell you
Couldn't
what.
find the kettle.
I don't always, but as often as I can, Spud and Purple, I try and catch up with the Winners Rebooted.
Yeah.
In the great hope that Bristol is playing. Because if it's Collingwood in the later part of the night, back part of the 90s, or Richmond in the first part, I just hope when it goes into the forward half, I see the great man.
The hair and the moustache.
Because I'm telling you, the body language, outside of being an unbelievably good player, and we always say no problem with that, but the body language, Spud, was just magnificent. Absolutely. I saw one the other day where Disco took a very nice clunk and went back to kick the goal.
What was his body language
Afterwards,
after?
Bristol sort of half gave him a pat, but it was really, I couldn't give a stuff about it.
Just get up the ground.
Get out.
Move up the ground right
I used to love when Dacos was on fire. Lee would look for a mismatch.
That's
And
it.
Brian, we want you to go to the forward pocket.
What about the day Mullane was playing? We were playing at Princess Park, and the message came out at about three-quarter time. I hadn't got a touch. The message come out, could you go and stand near the boundary line of the half-forward flank? I said,
It was
why?
Purdy. It was against Purdy.
Yeah, he said,
Fitzroy.
Pert's ripping us to bits. He's your opponent. We're going to put Pants in the goal square. And I thought, oh, yeah, okay. I went out there, and, of course, Pants kicked 4 goals in 4 minutes. I'm standing out there not in the thick of it, and I'm saying, Lee, what about me?
I love it. Oh,
Get them a
absolutely
start
love it.
going.
Oh, yeah.
Brian, you're not chasing. The runner would come out.
And an early oiler too. Bristol used to get some nice oil going in the old Warwick farms.
I sent more messages back than arrived.
Was
I
it
can tell
Peter
you.
Power, the runner at one stage? Peter Power?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
Oh, Brian would
tell you.
always give him the stiffer. If Peter Power be running out, he said, "Stop! I know, not chasing."
Oh.